You're watching 48 Fastcast.
All right, y'all, 7:01. Thanks for waking up with us. Check out that sunrise behind us.
Yeah.
Beautiful this morning. Another warm day on tap and sunny after we saw that stretch of rain.
Yeah, with that rain moved out, it's a great start to your Friday and to your weekend.
We've come a long way, even over the past few hours. Had heavy rain, some close to 40-mile-per-hour winds early this morning, but now you can see it behind us. We had some clearing. Rainfall definitely not evenly distributed overnight into this morning. Some of you saw a few hundredths of an inch of rain. Others picked up close to a quarter inch of rain, especially through parts of Madison County, close to 2/10 as we go through Marshall into DeKalb County. But that's what's left over. Everything is tracking off to the east, and that's it for most of the day. It actually turns out to be a very pleasant day. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 60s, but we've got one more round of rain and potentially a few storms coming in overnight into early tomorrow. This will mostly be during the midnight to about 7 a.m. time frame of Saturday morning. Today, the clouds are already clearing. We'll hit a high of 68 degrees, and then we start tracking those late evening showers and a few storms. Temperatures have fallen significantly, though. We were at 70 degrees at midnight, now in the mid 40s to mid 50s for your morning drive. Wet roads, but things look pretty good other than Friday traffic.
This is your 48 First Alert Road Report, sponsored by Bankston Motorhomes.
A traffic update for you right now. Traffic triangle is clean, volume high, but no accidents to report, which is good if you're driving to Decatur or Huntsville. Overall, accident-free this morning, but let's take you down to Galesville. We have viewers in Galesville. It's a beautiful area near Weiss Lake. This is on Alabama 35 by County Road 92, north and southbound. May slow you down locally there, but that's the only accident I can find here this morning, which is good news. Here are your drive times. Owens Crossroads to Huntsville will take you 21 minutes. Jonathan?
All right, thanks, Jeff. Well, you might wonder how law enforcement agencies send out emergency alerts like Amber Alerts when people are missing.
Yeah, 48 is on your side this morning, taking you inside that process. Matthew King joins us live in downtown Huntsville now. And Matthew, there are different requirements associated with each of these alerts.
Yeah, there are 4 different kinds of alerts in total there for the different alerts. But ultimately, officials have to have it confirmed before they tell the public that the person is missing and that they are in danger. The most common alert that people often see is the Amber Alert, but it's not actually the most common alert. It's just the one that most is commonly known because of their phones. They're actually not as common as the other types of alerts. In 2025, Aaliyah only issued 1 Amber Alert. Those alerts are only issued after troopers establish that the child is missing, has been abducted, and is also in danger. Jay Mosley is the director of Aaliyah's Alabama Fusion Center. He says these public alerts are often the best tool in bringing a child home safely.
We've got hundreds right now in Alabama that are missing. So bringing awareness to that, bringing awareness to the process of all it takes from finding someone missing all the way to issuing the alert and then hopefully with a safe recovery.
And another reason why Amber Alerts are often very rare, they have to meet federal guidelines before state troopers can issue them. Reporting live in Huntsville, Matthew King, 48 on your side.
Matthew, thank you. Huntsville police should update us later today on the condition of a teen who was shot in North Huntsville. This happened yesterday on Powell Drive near Winchester Road and Blue Spring Road. One witness we spoke with say the victim is only 16 years old. The witness also says he saw 3 teens get out of a car and then run down the street. The shooting victim was also seen lying on the ground with multiple gunshot wounds. Police have not said whether anyone has been arrested. All new this morning, one person had to be taken to the hospital after a wreck in Lincoln County. This happened yesterday on Highway 64 in the Flintville area. Flintville firefighters say the driver lost control before flipping over onto the median. They are expected to be okay.
Well, this morning we're hearing from Morgan County Sheriff Ron Puckett about the arrest of a former sheriff's deputy. Now, that deputy was Jarvis Moore. He used to work at the Morgan County Jail. He was recently arrested and charged with extortion. Moore claims he was fired in September for giving honey buns to some inmates. He tells us this was a common practice to take commissary from inmates who misbehaved and then redistribute it to inmates who followed orders. Morgan County Sheriff Ron Puckett, though, says Moore's alleged actions were out of line.
Just because you're an inmate in our jail doesn't mean we can take advantage of you and take your property by force. It was not a result of a retaliation. It was not a result of vengeance or political. It was a result of the actions of Mr. Moore's hands.
Whenever somebody says something is not what it's not, that's exactly what it is. It may not be a written policy, but it was a policy that they followed. You're going to go after Jarvis for this and make it a crime? Go after everyone and do the same thing.
Now, Moore also claims he was fired in retaliation. He tells us he was accused of leaking security footage of John Scott Jr. being dragged through the jail. Scott Jr. later died in custody. The full story can be found on our website, WAFF.com.
Well, this morning, a DeKalb County woman who pleaded guilty to murder wants to withdraw that plea. Loretta Carr recently pleaded guilty to pushing Mary Isbell off a cliff to her death in 2021. Carr now claims her lawyers pressured her to take the plea deal. Her attorneys are now asking a judge to be removed from the case. Carr's daughter, Jessie Kelly, has also pleaded guilty to murder in connection with Isbell's death.
Well, Scottsboro police have arrested a man they say had a machete and then fought them. Now, police also say he had a lot of drugs. Eric Scott was arrested on Tuesday at a home on Orange Street. That's near Maple Avenue and North Houston Street. Now, police tell us he was behaving erratically while holding a machete. We're also told Scott fought the officers when they tried to arrest him. Drugs were also found at the home. He's now facing multiple charges, including drug possession and resisting arrest.
Happening soon, President Donald Trump is set to give his State of the Union address next week. He's expected to talk about his first 12 months in office. Yesterday, we spoke with Congressman Dale Strong about what he thinks about the administration so far. Strong complimented the president for working to bring Space Command to the arsenal. He also says the president deserves a lot of credit for working to enhance the Golden Dome missile defense program.
Space Command, you look at it, that's going to be about 1,700 jobs created for North Alabama with a 3,000 job spinoff. It's time to go vertical. The president concurred that it was best for national security, and Alabama's the winner.
Many Democratic lawmakers are planning to boycott the speech and not attend. They're also planning to deliver a counter address on Tuesday, criticizing the president's policies on immigration and health care.
Well, there may be some new changes about how your child learns about sex when they're in school. Several state lawmakers want to implement an abstinence-based sex education curriculum. If approved, teachers would be required to teach students about avoiding sex entirely. Now, teachers wouldn't be allowed to talk about abortion. Some Democrats say they would rather students have information they can use to make their own choices, while many Republicans claim that the current curriculum on sex ed is inappropriate.
What we want to do is educate our young folks to make wise decisions so that they will make wise decisions, avoid consequences of inappropriate relationships.
If you're trying to hide kids and hide things from kids and they understand that you're trying to keep knowledge from them, they will find a way to find it themselves.
Now, if this legislation is approved, parents would also be allowed to opt their child out of sex education entirely. Well, you could soon pay less in child care expenses. Some advocates are supporting a bill that, if approved, would allow you to receive a tax credit for the amount of daycare costs that you pay. Now, you'd be able to get a tax credit of about 20% for what you pay for daycare. Supporters of the measure also hope that this would help you get back to work more quickly after having a child.
Be just more encouragement to the families, because it would help them in a stage where it's pretty hard, having a bunch of kids and trying to keep mom and dad working and keep things moving. It's the infrastructure of our society.
Well, this legislation is still in its early stages of development.
Well, private organizations in Tennessee may soon be allowed to refuse to recognize same-sex marriages. The House passed a controversial bill yesterday. Under the measure, people who work outside of government agencies would not be punished for refusing to recognize same-sex marriages. Opponents of the measure worry this will allow private hospitals, banks, and other businesses to refuse business to gay couples. Democrats say the legislation is the first step in allowing other discriminatory behavior. However, Republican lawmakers are adamant that won't happen.
Theoretically, you could read that legislation to allow individuals or private organizations to discriminate against someone based on the color of their skin.
Absolutely not. Look at the bill, listen to the debate. It does not open the door to that.
The bill now heads to the Senate. Now, the Supreme Court ruled in 2015 that same-sex marriages were legal. It also required all states to recognize them.
Well, your child's teacher may soon be required to teach the Bible. That's if a bill approved in Tennessee goes forward, that's been proposed in Tennessee goes forward. Now, teachers who refuse would even face legal consequences. The measure would also require that students have time to pray every day during class. There would be lessons on Israel's history, the Old and New Testaments, Jesus, and the Bible's influence on Western civilization. Under the bill, parents of students would also be able to sue if they didn't believe their child was learning enough about Christianity. However, under the Constitution's Establishment Clause, the government is not allowed to establish or favor a specific religion. Happening in just a few hours, NASA leaders will hold a press conference to discuss yesterday's Artemis II test. The goal of the Artemis II mission is to send astronauts back to the moon, or around the moon and back, and the eventual goal is to have them return to the moon's surface.
Now, your first alert weather with meteorologist Eric Burke.
Well, good morning and happy Friday. Some of you might have been woken up by some of the heavy rain and wind we had this morning, but that's gone. We're seeing a lot of sunshine already today, and that trend will continue at least for the morning into the early afternoon. Temperatures bouncing back into the mid to upper 60s. We do have another round of showers and potentially a few storms coming late this evening, overnight into Saturday morning. And then a strong cold front comes in, and this cold front brings some pretty big change. This is what I'm talking about. Wind chill 7 a.m. on Sunday morning is in the low to mid 20s. Most of the day Sunday, it will feel like 30s with strong northwest winds. And it's even worse as we go into Monday. May even wake up in the single digits for your wind chill.
Eric, thank you. Still to come, a new district attorney is making history. How she's doing this ahead.
And college students across the state are rallying for more funding, while they say more needs to be done to make higher education affordable.
An elderly woman and a child are recovering this morning after being burned in a mobile home fire. This happened in Lawrence County, Tennessee. It happened yesterday morning on Chief Creek Road in the Henryville area. Lawrence County firefighters say the elderly woman was badly burned, but the child's burns were less severe. Now, that child woke up during the fire and pulled the elderly woman out. It took firefighters hours to put out those flames.
Well, now to a 48 News update. The search for Nancy Guthrie is now on its 20th day. Right now, FBI officials are investigating thousands of tips. Nearly 20,000 have come in regarding Guthrie's abduction. Investigators are now trying to use genetic genealogy to identify the DNA that was recovered from a glove found near her property. That DNA did not match anyone in the FBI's database. Guthrie was first reported missing on February 1st.
Well, Pisgah leaders are hoping to annex more land into the town limits to get more federal dollars to spruce up the city. City council members laid out plans yesterday. They want to annex land southeast of Pisgah all the way to Highway 71. That would loop in more homes, grocery stores, restaurants, and gas stations, and it would put the population at more than 1,000 people. That way, Pisgah could qualify for federal grant funding to help with future infrastructure needs. Many residents are in favor of this. However, some do have concerns.
People don't understand that once you're part of the city limits, you can be subject to zoning regulations and ordinances. It's just a matter of time before they start telling you what to do.
The council will continue to discuss the matter and answer questions at their next meeting.
Well, this morning, one woman in Lauderdale County is making history. Angie Hamilton is the first woman district attorney in the county's history. Hamilton spent the past 2 decades working in the district attorney's office. She has been chosen to replace Chris Connolly after he was recently appointed to a circuit judge position.
Well, covering the classroom now, where students from across Alabama are calling for an increase in college education funding. Hundreds of college students and faculty members from public universities gathered outside the state capitol yesterday. They took their concerns straight to lawmakers to remind the legislature that they're the future leaders of the state.
Tell their story to the legislature. Make sure that people know that they are all pursuing their dreams with the intentional desire to make a difference here in Alabama and all across this world.
Alabama's universities have a $20 billion economic impact on the state every year. Advocates say that increased funding is important to keep momentum going.
Well, students at Florence High School got the chance to learn more about the aerospace industry. Those students toured the United Launch Alliance facility that's in Decatur. District officials say this was a great experience for the students to learn more about how they can get involved in that field. Well, right now you can buy some important items to keep your family safe during the severe weather season. You can stock up on supplies like weather radios, flashlights, and some portable generators. The best part, it's all tax-free. Now there are some tarps included as well, power cords. We'll have more information on this on our website later today. Well, happening today, some Huntsville firefighters will be honored for saving lives. The event is being held at the Dream Theater on Holmes Avenue, and it begins at 5:30 p.m.
You have the chance to get a home-cooked meal while also supporting your local fire departments. 2 chicken stew sales will be happening tomorrow. The Speak Volunteer Fire Department is selling their stew at $20 per half gallon starting at 9 a.m. The Chalybeat Fire Department is charging $25 per gallon starting at 11.
Now, your first alert weather with meteorologist Eric Burke.
Well, one thing I know about firehouses in general, they know how to cook for sure. So I bet you that stew's pretty tasty. All right, today started off with rain and storms. It's all long gone. Turns out to be a beautiful day. Mid-morning temperatures still struggling to warm a bit, but mild there in the mid-50s. By the noon hour, low to mid-60s. The wind will start to pick up from the north and west, and we will see more clouds building in for the afternoon and evening. Could see some showers and even some storms popping up late this evening, overnight into Saturday morning. After tomorrow's rain and storms in the morning, we're at 66 for tomorrow afternoon. But look what happens. That is a strong February cold front. We're forecasting highs on Monday to only be in the upper 30s. Don't worry, this little winter snap not long lived.
All right, thanks, Eric. Well, still to come on 48 News today, your child has a chance to win some big scholarship money, especially if they love history. We'll tell you how ahead.
And students at UAH have the chance to make some important career decisions and connections later today. We explain next. Well, for the past few weeks, we've told you about plans to overhaul the board that sets your utility rates. This legislation comes as new records show Alabama Power's net profit grew by more than $100 million last year. One couple from Jefferson County says their power bill more than doubled in just 3 months. Frank and Nell Mosley say they don't understand why their last bill was more than $500 when they haven't made any big lifestyle changes.
I mean, we've been living just like we've always been living. And it just, so you tell me what
we
went
haven't been
wrong.
doing much because we've been both sick.
When the couple reached out to Alabama Power, they were told their bill was accurate. A bill that would fundamentally alter the board that sets your utility rates is still being considered. Well, there will soon be a new place for you to get medical services in Lawrence County. That facility will be located on Highway 24 in Moulton. It will have an extended hours urgent care clinic, an imaging center, spaces for physical therapy, and lab services. This all comes after the Lawrence Medical Center shut down its ER last year. We spoke with one Lawrence County resident who's excited about the new facility.
Everybody been going to this hospital so long, and they used to it, and then just shut it down. It kind of threw everybody in shock because they didn't know where to go. In case somebody got snake bit or maybe a heart attack, we don't have anywhere to go other than go to Decatur. That'd be the closest place.
I have a heart and a passion for those people that live there, and I want to make sure that, whether they're young or old, that they're able to get the care that we can do and provide for them there, that they don't have to drive even to Decatur. And this new building just brings the capacity to do more things there, and with new equipment.
We're told the new medical center should be complete in the next 18 to 20 months.
Your son or daughter has a chance to participate in a National Civics and American History Challenge, and there could be some scholarship money behind this. Now, this coincides with America's upcoming 250th birthday, and here's how it works. Students take an online civics exam. The top performing students from each state then advance to regional semifinals. From there, the top competitors will advance to a nationally broadcast championship that takes place in Washington, D.C. Now, the students who win will receive scholarships totaling $250,000. Governor Kay Ivey is hoping a student from our state wins the whole thing.
And if there's one thing history has shown us, it's this: never count Alabama out. After all, it was the rocket built in Huntsville that carried man to the moon. In Mobile, we built the ships that defend our freedom. And right here in the capital city is what many call the most historic short street in America, and for good reason. Y'all, Alabama makes history. Freedom isn't accidental, it's protected, it's learned, and it's earned.
Our registration is open from now until Sunday, and you can register online.
Well, happening today, students at the University of Alabama in Huntsville will be able to explore some future career opportunities. The UAH Engineering Expo gets underway at 9:30 at the Student Services Building. It runs until 11:30. Students will be able to speak with representatives from TVA, NASA, and Mercedes-Benz, among others. Madison Mayor Renee Bartlett is reflecting on her first 100 days in office. She's already overseen the annexation of the Costco at Cliff Farm and numerous infrastructure projects. You can watch an exclusive interview we have with her on our website, WAFF.com.
We're nearing the end of the Winter Olympics, but there's still a lot of action left. Now look at the medal count on your screen. Norway in the lead with 34 total medals. The U.S. in second now with 27. Now that's also in part due to the U.S. women's hockey team's comeback win in overtime yesterday. A great game. There are plenty of medals still up for grabs between now and Sunday. You can watch all that action here on WAFF 48.
Now, your first alert weather with meteorologist Eric Burke.
Sad to see the Winter Olympics coming to an end. Still have a lot of good hockey, a lot of good events coming up. Catch a lot of that right here on WAFF 48. And for today, maybe try and make some outside plans. Morning rain and storms gone. 68 degrees, mostly sunny, becoming partly cloudy. Now we are tracking more rainfall and potentially even a few storms coming in much later this evening, overnight into early Saturday. A lot of that rainfall and a few storms probably from midnight to about 7 a.m. tomorrow. Here are your temperatures. We'll start to warm up here eventually, but it does feel a touch cool, maybe a little bit damp as well. And this morning will be the breeziest part of the day. Lighter winds from the northwest. Some sunshine today, boosting our temps back into the mid to upper 60s. 48 overnight. Scattered showers, a few storms. We are not forecasting severe weather. Strong cold front comes in Saturday night into Sunday. You might see, sun 46 on Sunday. It will never feel like that. It will feel like about 30 degrees, and then the wind chill on Monday morning, potentially even in the single digits and teens. So 2 little cold days, and then we're right back by the middle of next week.
All right, we'll make it through.
We will. I hope so.
I hope so too.
Hope to see you guys on Monday morning.
Yes.
All right, y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll be on air with more news, weather, and traffic throughout the morning.